Don't look now, but out west, the Dallas Mavericks are making a push to get into the playoffs. Welcome into the Sporting News Studios for Throwin Elbows, our weekly look at the NBA with our NBA writer Sean Devaney. And Sean, what are we going to make of the Dallas Mavericks' latest push? 7-3 in their last 10. They beat the Clippers last night. What are the prospects for this team this year? I think they're one game out of the 8th spot in the West.
Yeah, they're right on the Lakers' heels, and if the Lakers are worried about anybody, it's probably Dallas more so than Utah or Portland or anybody like that. And Dallas has played well lately. They're 10-4 in March. Now that Dirk Nowitzki is healthy, they're 21-15 when he's in the starting lineup. And this is just another example of how good a coach Rick Carlisle is. But don't be fooled by all this. I mean, this is not what the Dallas Mavericks, the Mavericks, Mark Cuban and Donnie Nelson, they're not going into seasons thinking, geez, we want to get the 8th seed and squeak into the playoffs. That's not what the goal of this team has been. And this year has been sort of a write-off year for them anyways. They've been looking forward to next summer, to free agency, where they'll have plenty of cap space. They'll try to lure Dwight Howard. They'll probably make an offer to Brandon Jennings, restricted free agent. You've got guys like Kevin Martin, Paul Millsap, Al Jefferson. They're thinking of this summer. If they get in the playoffs, that's fine, but they certainly have bigger fish to fry.
Okay, and speaking of the playoffs, we're pretty confident the Memphis Grizzlies will make it, but they have a little issue here with Marc Gasol aggravating an abdominal tear. What's the status of that injury, and how does it affect the Grizzlies?
Yeah, Marc Gasol is probably among the 10 most underrated players in the league. Zach Randolph goes to the All-Star game, but it's Gasol who probably deserved it. He's the MVP of that team. I am all set to vote for him for Defensive Player of the Year. He's been that good in the middle for the Grizzlies. So if he's out for an extended amount of time, and you saw it the other night when John Wall had 47 points for the Wizards against the Grizzlies, if he's out for an extended period of time, the glue to that defense, which is the Grizzlies' bread and butter, the glue sort of falls apart, and that's going to be a real challenge for Lionel Hollins if he's out for an extended period. And those abdominal strains can be a real problem. Remember, that's what Chris Bosh had last year in the playoffs, and he wound up staying out for about 3 weeks. So this is the kind of injury that really can linger. Gasol has tried to play through it. He first suffered it on March 6th. But it's become too much, and you really have to worry if you're a Grizzlies fan that this could linger into the postseason.
Yeah, and given that, I know playoff position is important, but should they be very conservative to try to get him healthy for the playoffs?
Yeah, it's tricky. Obviously, you'd like to have home court there, and there's a chance that they could fall to number 5. And certainly, if you wind up playing Denver, if Denver is the 4 seed and they've got the home court advantage, you're really at a disadvantage there. So, it's a tough balance. You obviously, you want the guy healthy, but geez, you need him out there if you're going to secure home court advantage before the playoffs start. So it's definitely a fine line for them to walk. I think that they're going to have to err on the side of caution and give him time to make sure that thing is 100%.
All right, very good. Now, speaking of the playoffs, again, the Clippers look pretty good for the playoffs. Their coach, Vinny Del Negro, says, hey, don't worry about me. No matter what happens in the playoffs, I'm fine for the future. Is that really true? And if it's not true, what do the Clippers need to do to really secure the position of a guy who's been kind of on and off the hot seat for a while?
Yeah, Vinny's never really been exactly secure in that job. They have never really been, gung-ho in their support for him. They gave him an extension last year, but it was a 1-year extension, which meant, he's now a free agent at the end of this year unless they extend him again. I think the only way they extend him again is if he does have a good playoff run and gets them to the conference finals at least. That's what I think it's going to take. If they get to the second round and lose, I don't think that Vinny Del Negro will be back. There's been some splintering. He was the one who wanted to trade for Kevin Garnett or another experienced big man. He really hasn't had a great relationship with center DeAndre Jordan, and I think some in the front office think he could have done a better job of bringing DeAndre Jordan along. So when you add it all up, it's going to take the kind of playoff run that makes him unfireable in order for him to be back with the Clippers next year. Don't forget, too, they've got Chris Paul as a free agent this summer, so he's going to have some say in terms of who they bring back as coach because, as a free agent, he's going to be able to say, I'll come back and re-sign if you make this guy the coach or that guy the coach.
Yeah, it should be an interesting offseason there in L.A., probably for both teams. All right, listen, Sean, thanks so much for your time, and we'll catch up with you later.
Okay, thank you.